New York City's Democratic mayoral primary is in the home stretch. The 8 leading Democratic candidates took the debate stage last night for the final time. The conversation centered on crime, policing, homelessness, housing, and mental health. Senior political reporter Marcia Kramer from our New York station WCBS has more on the candidates' last pitch to voters.
When you ask what I'm going to do differently, I'm going to rebuild the stock of psych beds in our city. I will fix this, New York.
You started out this campaign talking about using hotels. Now you're into psych beds. How much is this going to cost? This is a teaching moment.
We can't afford not to do this.
You can't just walk up and say psych beds for all. This is not how the next mayor has to comport themselves.
Andrew Yang and Scott Stringer started out the mayoral campaign near the top of the pack. But now that the polls have them falling behind Eric Adams and Catherine Garcia, they tried to make the most of their last debate and score points. So did others who are currently also rans. Ray McGuire on the worst idea he's heard from the other wannabes.
Let's be very clear for black and brown communities, neither defund the police nor stop and frisk.
You don't speak for black and brown communities. How dare you assume to speak for black and brown communities? You cannot do that.
I'm going to do it again. Black and brown communities do not want either defund or stop and frisk.
You are not speaking for all black and brown communities, because I am a member of that community, and you are certainly not speaking for me.
I don't think you tuned in tonight to hear us attack each other.
It was that kind of night. Yang questioning the ability of former NYPD Captain Eric Adams to fight crime by pointing out that the captain's union endorsed him.
They think I'm a better choice than Eric to keep us and our families safe.
They endorsed my opponent because some of those same captains remember Eric Adams and 100 Blacks in Law Enforcement Who Care, who fought against abuse of stop and frisk, who fought against heavy-handed policing. Okay. So, of course, they knew that Eric is going to be a voice that is not going to allow this to happen.
The worst idea I've ever heard is bringing back stop and frisk and the anti-crime unit from Eric Adams, which one is racist, 2 is unconstitutional.
Catherine Garcia once again played up her extensive government experience.
I am not running to get the title of mayor. I am running to do the job of mayor.
Adam Brewster is a CBS News political reporter, and he joins us from one of the city's early voting sites in Brooklyn. Hi, Adam. Great to see you. So what are you hearing from voters as they cast their ballots?
Well, a lot of the discussion today, Tanya, has surrounded ranked choice voting, something that New York City is using in its first citywide primary for the first time. There were a couple of special elections earlier this year that used it. It will be a huge test for the voting method that has, certainly grown in popularity around the country. This will be likely the largest voting base to ever use ranked choice voting. And the voters we spoke to today, for the most part, said they found it easy. It may have taken a little longer to fill out their ballot, a little more research to do to decide whether you want to vote for all 5 candidates as you can for mayor and a few other races. But, for the most part, they liked that they could vote for someone who may be their first choice, someone who they really believe in. And if they don't think that person can win, they know that they have a fallback. That was something that we heard about, if my top choice doesn't win, I like that I can still have a say in this. That being said, we did run into one gentleman who said, I am old school. I voted for one candidate for each race. I do not, didn't feel inspired by any of the other candidates enough to, put someone down for second, even for the mayoral race. So many people saying today that they liked the experience, that they felt prepared when they went in today, but at least one person saying this is not something that I'm interested in, and he chose just rank one candidate, certainly something that he is able to do.
It's interesting that this race has had a lot of back and forth. There hasn't been sort of, 1 or 2 clear front runners from the beginning. I want to talk about Andrew Yang, because he was a clear front runner at one point, but he faced backlash for one of his answers yesterday on mental health and homelessness, citing recent attacks against Asian New Yorkers. His critics say his response stigmatized those with mental illness. Let's play that bite.
Yes, mentally ill people have rights, but you know who else have rights? We do. The people and families of the city. We have the right to walk the street and not fear for our safety because a mentally ill person is going to lash out at us.
So, Adam, Yang, as I said, was the front runner for much of this race. Now the latest major poll from Marist College shows him in 4th place behind Eric Adams, Catherine Garcia, and Maya Wiley. Why has Yang fallen out of favor, and is there time for him to turn it around?
Well, certainly when Andrew Yang jumped into the race in January, he was the most well-known candidate, right? He is someone who ran for president, who gained a national profile, even though he didn't perform well in the Iowa caucuses and in the New Hampshire primaries. He's somebody who gained a lot of attention for his universal basic income proposal, and he brought a slimmed down version of that proposal to his New York City mayoral candidate, something that some of his opponents have said that he has not been forthright about because it's a smaller program than he had pitched as a presidential candidate. But what other campaigns and candidates have said was, as soon as voters get to know us, right? We are not necessarily well known. As soon as voters get to know us and know our ideas, they will come around to us. And that is certainly something that we've seen as the race has gotten closer. People have paid more attention, perhaps done some more research. You can look at someone like Catherine Garcia, who was polling mostly in the single digits for first choices after the New York Times endorsed her. She had got a lot more attention, perhaps people not necessarily following the lead, but at least giving her a look and listening to her ideas, seeing if they like them. We've seen the left sort of rally around Maya Wiley as the progressive candidate in the race. Later on in the past few weeks, she got endorsements from Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Congressman Jamal Bowman, and other progressive leaders in the city. So, Andrew Yang came in with high name ID. His team, though, feels confident that they have built a coalition that will pay off in that ranked choice ballot system. And I think that it is really hard to predict how these final results will shake out just based on what we know from first choices. I spoke to a gentleman today, for example, who said crime and police were, arguably his top issue, but his first candidate was Eric Adams, his second candidate was Maya Wiley. Those are two candidates who have incredibly different views on how the future of the NYPD should operate. And so we are seeing people not necessarily rank candidates in the way that we would, you would think that they may. So how that will play out, whether Andrew Yang still has time, we don't know how people are going to rank those candidates down ballot. And his campaign has felt that they've built a coalition to survive and perform well in those ranked choice tabulations.
It is interesting talking to a lot of New York City voters. They'll say, their first, second, or third choice, and they do tend to have radically different ideas about a lot of things. What else stood out to you from last night's final debate, and is there anything that might have knocked Adams from his perch?
Well, I think that, those conversations that Adams continues to have about policing, certainly the questions that Andrew Yang posed saying, your former colleagues are endorsing me. They think I am better on the issue of crime when you were a police officer. Doesn't that, raise doubts in your mind? A question just trying to have voters reconsider, perhaps if they're thinking about Eric Adams, whether he would be the right choice. And Adams saying, I didn't ask for their endorsement. I didn't want their endorsement. They know that I won't be friendly to them. That's why they don't want me. He also, of course, talked about, how he has faced questions about comments about wanting to use the controversial policing methods of stop and frisk and bringing back some of the plainclothes officers to deal with violence. He said, I don't want to go back to the way that we were doing things in the past. I want to be able to have these tools to move forward. And we will see soon, the direction that voters want the NYPD to go. But certainly he has faced those questions. He has been, rather consistent on his answers and his views on the way policing should work within the city. And now it is up to the voters to decide if that is the route that they want to go.
All right. Well, Adam Brewster, thank you so much. We appreciate your deep dive into New York City mayoral politics for us.
Thanks, Tanya.